profile.
I don't always write the same, and sometimes I'll write little, sometimes I'll write big, sometimes I'll mix it up.
Oh yeah.
I love when you tell me to go get it. And you clap for me. It's supposed to be red or no? You good?
I always forget to. It's supposed to be red or green? Red?
It seems like it'd be green from Bellz.
Yes.
Alright. Go.
Love you. Damn, you look good when you walk away.
I hate to see you go, but I love to see you walk away.
You.
Golly.
Okay, before we start anything, because today we're going to go a cappella. Is that even a thing?
Freestyle.
Freestyle.
Acapella. We're always
we're doing both.
Yeah.
Doing both.
Technically.
Acapella and freestyle.
Yeah.
Today we didn't put nothing together.
They ain't down.
We've been busy.
Yeah.
But I want to announce that Mr. Figueroa is making a comeback.
Yes.
So he's been training. Brian Figueroa. He just signed the contract yesterday with Victor Flores, who's been helping us a lot to keep these guys busy. And we're excited to have that young man back in the ring. Watch things. Watch him unfold and get back to where he has to be. He's 17-1, and he is a force to be reckoned with. Wow. Absolutely.
I'm super excited. Barry's been training with you for a long time, and he mentioned yesterday too. He's excited for his comeback. I'm very excited. That kid, like I said a long time ago, he spoiled me.
Haven't been spoiled since, huh?
Nope. Yeah, he has spoiled me. I remember my best experience like during sparring and my worst experience during sparring, and he's still to this day. It's been a few years, 3 years.
Hey, should I bring up real quick? Like Brian Figueroa. One time I took him to spar at Canelo's gym.
Yeah,
you remember?
Yeah,
we were there.
Yeah.
And I think Gordo was there too. I don't remember.
I think he was.
We were all there that day. And I asked Eddie to spar
one of his
promising prospects. And he was like, yeah, okay, man, let's go. And Brian Figueroa started having his way with the kid in the first round. And
off the couch.
he hadn't even trained. Canelo, being a competitor that he is, he got mad. Not at us, at his fighter, at his team. Well, we don't call him a teammate or whatever.
A little stable, yeah.
This kid that we're sparring, Canelo came out publicly one time on one of the guys from boxing, what do they call it, YouTubers?
Yeah.
Saying that he was the future.
Yeah.
So we go spar this guy at Canelo's gym, and then by the first round, Canelo's red, he's mad, he's pissed, he's yelling, and then we go into the second round, and Brian just starts sparring this kid and looking at Canelo and saying, no matter what you tell him, there's nothing, he can't do what you want him to do.
Yeah.
And I just said, okay, we're going home. That's it. We're done. Maggie, start packing our bags. Let's get ready, Maggie. Let's get ready to go to the, we're about to go home. And they pull the kid out in the second round.
Yeah.
And then I just take off Brian's. So I have to support my fighter. I take Brian's stuff off, and I just look at Brian. I never told him to go talk to Canelo. He just goes to Canelo to a little corner, and they start talking. Then I look, and I'm like, see how reading the body language.
Yeah, demeanor.
Hoping that it's because you don't want to fight with people especially for just sparring.
Yeah.
And then they come back, and Canelo tells Eddie Reynoso, these are the fucking kind of kids we should sign.
Yeah.
I told Brian, what did you tell him? And he just said something along the words like, man, I just haven't been given an opportunity, bro. And it sucks that these guys are being given opportunities and they ain't even worth it.
Yeah.
And Eddie, Brian has had it hard in the boxing world. He signed with 2 managers before that just wasn't good. This is the fucked up part about the sport.
Yeah. Similar to Ricky too. Ricky had
the same
experience.
thing. They had the same guy.
Yeah. Speaking of.
And I can't wait to see what Brian does, because Brian trusts the process. He's been hurt a lot, but he's putting all his trust into us.
Yes.
And man, we're just excited. We can't wait to announce this kid fighting and when he's going to get his first fight. I think end of February, beginning of March.
Yeah. Super exciting.
He'll be sneaking up. He'll make his comeback. So we're excited. We're
Super.
excited to be in the corner.
Yeah, there's nothing more satisfying, you know.
Why did he spoil you?
Why? Because is it exactly that. He came off the couch. Like, and when people say off the couch, it's like, motherfucker hasn't been training. He hasn't been sparring. So he hasn't been really working on his timing. He hadn't. He really hadn't. Maybe he had come in like a couple of times and hit pads with you. But besides that, he wasn't doing shit.
Yeah.
He came in and had his way with everybody who had been sharp and fucking training in training camps. And every time I'd see him spar, he just had his way. Why? Because he has this sort of like aura. Since I mentioned to you last night, this kid had like this aura. You can just tell. You can pick it up, you know? Ever since then, I've never seen anybody do that. He doesn't get in his head about shit. He doesn't, it comes natural to him. It's like he's in his element when he's in there, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's like now, he came up in the sport a certain way, you know? So that's why I always try to, I don't like to nitpick too much on like the past and shit, but yeah, it does have something to do with it. But he, I think he is that anomaly that, like, you know how normally you have guys who, they're like okay off the ring, but when they're in there, they have, I don't know, they struggle. And he's like the other way around.
Just picks it right up. Yeah.
He's fucking like, you can't touch him in the ring. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's had the troubles with the business, but yeah, that's why he spoiled me to this day. Like, I've never seen a kid do that before. They're like, oh man, I'm rusty. I haven't sparred in a week. Like, what do you mean? That doesn't exist. At least not in my opinion. You know.
I knew he was good since amateurs and pros but the one he got me was when he we went to go fight in Nevada, in Las Vegas, and we fought this. I remember thinking that we're fighting this kid. I can't think of his head right now. I can look on BoxRec and find out. Maybe fucking our producer can post it. He fought this Cuban kid who was undefeated.
Yeah.
And the kid was being trained by Salas.
That fight's on YouTube.
Yeah. And then Capetillo's in the corner and Casamayor.
Yeah.
Then I realized we're on the fucking B side, dog.
Yeah.
I went into that fight thinking that we were the A side. With Brian's manager told us. So I know how the business works.
Right.
I call in. I call in for a favor.
Mm-hmm.
I call my uncle Joe Cortez, the referee, to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I remember asking the commission, "Does Joe come to these fights?" Because this was in a smaller. It was at a smaller venue. It wasn't one of the big casinos.
It was like a little outdoor.
Small casino. And it was a small casino, kind of / indoor, outdoor.
Yeah.
Joe don't come to these. He goes to the big ones. I was like, oh, okay. So cool. I know Joe will make an impact. So I called Joe. I said, Joe, can you come over here? The only favor I need is I get a fair shake.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I don't want no favors.
Yeah.
Just give me a fair shake. But I didn't tell Joe that's why I brought him over.
Yeah.
So Joe shows up and, hey, this is my nephew. What's up, Brian? He has a liking of Brian because he figures Brian is from Tijuana, and Mateo Gaspar Indio Ortega was a huge thing for Joe.
Yeah.
So Joe right away did, hey, this is my kid, it's my nephew, you know, they're fighting. So the commission was like, cool. I said, just give me a fair shake.
Yeah.
And we beat that undefeated kid on the B side. So, right, but Brian, I figured that sometimes people just think of fighters winning fights, but they don't think of everything that the build up. Like they're on the B side, they're coming in for the first time to the United States.
Yep.
This and that. And his first fight in the U.S. was in Vegas.
Yeah.
Beat undefeated.
And that's huge because I've seen it be the other way around. You know, yeah, the event was a little bigger, but still, it's like not everybody. That's what these guys like. They prepare, right? You're preparing. You gotta understand that eventually you might get that fucking opportunity, and you have to be able to perform under those fucking lights.
Yeah.
So that way you can snatch the fucking spotlight right underneath the other guy's fucking feet. You know. What do you think about that though? Like that whole A side, B side shit. Do you think?
I'd love to see them take that shit off.
I would too, man, because you don't give the fighters like their fucking, like you said, their fair shake, you know?
No. One fight A, one other one's B. It doesn't matter. But that concept's so engraved in people's heads.
Yeah.
That's always going to be there. But it's fucked up. I'd almost feel like the B side has to catch up.
Yeah.
He can't just do just enough to win.
No, you have to fucking.
Yeah, and then you got to realize that the A side, he's been handed everything like easier than the B side.
Right.
So all he has to do is cruise,
Yeah.
and he wins.
He's
The
been
B side
protected.
has to fucking basically put his life on the line out there. And
So that A side's like a protected investment, all in all.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, at the same time, man, like if you're a dog, I think your chances are good. Like that kid, when we were at Javín's fight this past one, the one there's a kid who's signed to Golden Boy, and it was like a fight or two before us. The kid who was wearing, I can't remember his fucking name, man, but he was wearing like green, like the Grinch outfit, and the other dude, like he caught him, and that was it. The kid never recovered, and he knocked him out, and that was like a huge upset, you know. So
I just hope that I wish that fighters would know their position. Like B-side fighters sometimes go in and go, man, I got robbed. No, you got to know where you stand.
Yeah,
you have to go out there and basically make sure that guy goes out of the ring in a gurney. You might get a draw.
exactly. That's fucked up because I've seen that motherfuckers get dropped and shit, and they still don't fucking get the fight.
Well, Eric Bonilla was telling me about a fight that just happened in Florida.
Yeah,
where the B-side fighter was, I want to say 8-0. No, something like that. No, he was fighting a guy 8-0.
Yeah.
The B-side fighter was 4-1. The B-side fighter dropped the guy twice in a 4-round or 6-round fight.
Yeah.
And still got a draw.
That's crazy, man.
And Eric said that he technically won every round plus the 2 rounds with 2 knockdowns.
What was that? Was there like a certain promotion?
I feel bad not saying it now because I'm going to look it up. But yeah, he told me maybe if I find out, I can tell Adam.
Yeah,
I think it's on YouTube. He said,
"Damn, but you know what? Like, I think a platform that's kind of good about that shit is ProBox.
All of them. I think as long as it's seen, they have to be fair. But ProBox is really good about matching guys up.
They really are because they're giving you that platform for the opportunity for the bigger platform.
Yeah,
you know.
And some of those guys like Angelo Leo came out of there and beat Bernardo Lopez.
Damian Sosa too.
Damian
he had
Sosa
the opportunity.
Won on that one and got to fight Sandro Sayas
against the guy who you would assume he was the A side, right? Because he was in Florida, he was undefeated, a prospect, and Damian just outpaced him.
There's a lot of other guys from ProBox, but I just can't think right now off the top of my head. Yes, that got a chance on that platform and made the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's cool what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, because it kind of like prepares you. It's like it's preparing you for that next step. You know, you're kind of like auditioning in a sense. You know, but yeah, man.
I wanted to touch on what do you think about? I'm starting to feel bad for this kid. At first, I never really cared much about him. Like I didn't dislike the kid or I didn't have an issue with him. But Devin Haney, like. Where his career's at right now is fucking sucks. Nah, I know not to feel bad for a guy that has more money than me.
Yeah.
And a guy who has the spotlight.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for him. I feel like
he's young.
How's he handling this? And the results of his. I don't know if it's all him making all his decisions. Put it that way.
I think a lot of
lawsuit.
I think it's been mishandled in my opinion. You know, like in show business, they say like there's no every publicity is good publicity or whatever, right? But at the same time, man, now your next performance, there's that much more pressure for you to perform like exquisitely, like you have never performed. You pretty much have to take this next guy out because if you don't, it's just gonna bury you even deeper. You know, and I think that's what this publicity has done to him. I don't understand this whole lawsuit thing, man. It's in a sense it's like not good for the whole sport. Like it just doesn't look good. It's fucked up, and you're right. You know, he's a young kid who this could be like a make or break for his fucking career. You know,
I feel like, and this is just me speaking. I don't know if it's true or not, but I feel like when they were on the winning side, they picked all their opponents and they were smart about who they wanted to fight and when and how. I don't know why they picked Ryan. I don't know how that fight took place, so I'm not going to elaborate on that too much. But now he's being kind of forced to fight people.
Yeah,
and he's saying yes, no, yes. Are they ready for that?
Yeah.
Who would they face when they come back? That's worth it. Like his value went down, his stock obviously.
Yeah,
that's why. So now Teofimo don't want to fight him.
Yeah.
Nobody really wants to fight him. He's not out there. Like people are not interested in fighting him.
Yeah.
Where does he go?
Yeah.
Who does he fight?
And on the other hand, fucking Ryan, everybody wants to fight that motherfucker. You know, like
Because he brings eyes, brings
brings
money.
in the money. Say what you want to say. That motherfucker is good for the sport in the sense that he's putting asses in seats. So
Even when he lost to like Tank Davis.
yeah, exactly.
Now, like speaking of Tank Davis, where does he go? Like he's not fighting.
He's not fighting, man. And I'm hearing, I don't know what's up with this controversy. There's some controversy going on. I'm not too like
With Lamont,
with Lamont. Apparently, the fight's not happening. It is happening.
Are they doing that to get eyes on there? Or?
I think so. I think there's a possibility of that. You know, that they want to keep it relevant. I don't know. I think, but at the same time, hearing there's some shit going on with PBC. This kind of.
The Lamont Roach is a hell of a fighter, but he's not a household name for the average fan.
Yeah.
Right now, it's about being somebody can identify with you and knowing who you are to want to watch you. And Lamont Roach is a hell of a fighter.
But I don't think people I don't know if they understand the risk of fighting somebody like that, right? Because he could upset you. And then people are going to be like, damn, he lost to a bum. It's like, no,
he's not a bum. Lamont's
he's not a bum. Because all these people are saying that he's a bum and this and that. And it's like, no, I remember when we were there when he beat Hector Garcia, the Dominican.
Remember I said, I want to watch this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lamont, I want to watch him. He was like 2-3 fights before the main card.
Yeah, he beat him. And I mean, this is a guy who Tank, like, I wouldn't say he struggled with him, but it wasn't like he knocked him out in a couple rounds. This is a guy who's he's good. You know what I mean? He was at championship level for a fucking reason. So, yeah, it's crazy how quickly people, if you don't know, it's not a household name, they discredit their whole fucking career.
Yeah.
You know, that's a trip, man. But I think his career is like teetering on being mishandled too. Because at this point, he should have already fucking swept through the whole lightweight division.
Yeah, and he could have.
Yeah.
And he could have. The only one giving him problems, in my opinion, from boxing skills wise, was probably the kid who lost, Devin Haney.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the beautiful thing about boxing. We all agree to disagree.
Yeah. And these fights, man, it's fucked up because some of them are already kind of like overripe, you know? That whole like protection shit.
Speaking of protection, Magz, why is the boxing weight division, I think it was 135?
Yeah.
135, 140. Why are they protecting everybody why is everybody being protected from Dos Santos? How come we don't get a chance?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like this whole like mishandling of these guys' fucking career, man. It's kind of out of hand.
Dos Santos beat Rayo Valenzuela.
Yeah.
And he technically gave Shakur a run for his money.
He did. He made him look real bad.
Do you think that after those two fights, he would be known to the boxing fans, but there's no interest in him?
There is no interest. He had a good fight in between that, too. He had a decent fight in between that. I can't remember against who, but that dude's good. And he's got fucking power. And he's very athletic. And he could definitely shake up that division. But I don't understand. I really don't understand what's going on with him either. I think maybe management.
No.
That's what it seems like, you know. But I would have liked to see him against Devin Haney or
anybody.
I think that would have been a great fight.
I'd love
actually
to see him fight anyone. I don't know how old he is, but I would have loved to see him fight anyone. He's exciting.
Yeah, he's like mid-20s.
That fear of knockouts any second keeps you glued to the TV.
That's a great example of a guy who was given that. I don't know where they fought. Was it Vegas or something when he beat I don't think it was Vegas when he beat Rayo, but it was a big platform. It was a big fight. That was super short notice, like less than a week.
That's right.
Less than a week or so, right?
That's right.
And he fucking shook the whole boxing world because of the way that he beat Rayo.
Yeah.
Now we don't know what kind of camp Rayo had. There was like whisperings of him having a bad camp or whatever, but still,
no one cares.
like nobody cares about that. They just remember like the
win or the loss.
Yeah, exactly. It's and that shit's crazy, man. But yeah,
that's why fighters when they get mad, they get their feelings hurt when, hey coach, I'm hurt. Give a fuck. Nobody cares. Let's go.
Yeah, you mentioned something to Kyle yesterday.
Or you're injured.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
You're hurting or you're really injured. You know, one or the other.
You mentioned that to him yesterday where it's like, you know, you going through all this shit, but when you're under the lights and you're on TV and people are watching your performance and they don't give a fuck about your emotions. and they really don't. People out there are ruthless. They don't understand. Like you mentioned earlier, like they don't get the whole the makings, the behind the scenes of the fights. People don't care about that shit. They don't.
If Michael Jordan became a meme,
Yeah,
you can become a meme quick. You know,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, man.
What's it called? A meme or a Giphy or what the fuck's that shit?
All of that shit.
All
A
that
meme,
shit.
Giphy, fucking a reel, whatever the
Yeah.
fuck. Yeah, man. But
So Wilder is going to be announcing that he's fighting soon.
yeah,
Do we care?
I think he's like, there's a possibility of him resurrecting his career.
Honestly, I don't care about Wilder fighting anyone except for Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
They will not make 100 million each now. They'll probably make 5 million each.
That's what happens when you let that shit go over right, man. That fucking fight. Make that money. Fuck it.
Yep.
Take that risk.
So that's the only fight I would be interested to see Wilder in.
Yeah.
Other than that, and is it? I know the boxing like Coach Bashir be like, no, Joe, no. Wilder's done. Like protect, and he's right. Like I don't want to see him get hurt.
Yeah.
So who does he fight?
But I think Anthony Joshua's kind of on the same boat.
That's why I want to see that fight because they're both on the same boat.
They both crack hard.
They both at one time were the boogie. Nobody wanted to face them.
Yeah.
And now I think people line up to fight either one of them.
Yeah. I agree. And I think that's a good fight. Fuck it. Make it. I know they were already trying to make it and they both kind of lost their fights and the opportunity to make those fights. But it seems like everything's kind of back on track to make it happen. Why not? You know?
Yeah. Fucking Wilder.
I don't see why not. But real quick, I know you guys probably noticed
Look at my cup.
these cups. Super cool.
With the custom logo.
Officially, first sponsor of the fucking podcast. We got a sponsor. Fuck you guys.
We're in the money.
But yeah, this is straight from the Women's Boxing Network. Is to commemorate their show coming up in on May 17th. They have a show. I can't remember exactly where it's at.
I think they're working at it to be at the Sheraton, but I shouldn't. We'll let you guys know.
I think they're working on it,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So, yeah, these ladies, Amber, and I forget the other. I feel so
Her
bad.
name is Heidi, if I'm not mistaken.
Heidi,
It's Aaron's mom, no?
Aaron's mom, are
Yeah.
pushing for women's boxing. Like, I really love that because I remember a time where women weren't even allowed in the gyms.
Yeah.
You know, not to train. They were allowed in the gym, but not to train on. Let me rephrase. I'm not from the fucking Great Depression, but yeah, it's just it's cool to see. People think I was hanging around Al Capone. Huh?
No, but that's super rad, man. That's super rad. That they're making that happen. I think that they need something like that because, like you said, I know there's a lot of stories out there of female fighters that can pretty much say the same thing. I was the only girl in the gym. I only sparred guys, and fucking, it's tough. So I think what they're doing is good. I heard their last show at the gym was really good. I heard really good things about it. So, yeah.
What do you feel like when you're at a fight in the locker rooms and basically you're like the only fucking chick in there, and then all of a sudden you see like a female official or a coach? What do you like? Look at her and you give her that like, "What's up, girl?"
No.
Because I can see they look at you like, "Hey, you look familiar. I've seen you before.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen you a lot." Or and you always like cutthroat down like, "Damn, fucking Magz is a dick."
Well, the thing is that I'm kind of used to it. I'm used to it. Every environment that I've been in has been male dominated, and I don't like to think about that. But it's funny. I don't think I ever told you, but if there is one woman that has inspired me in the sport, somebody that you know very well,
Christian Martin.
No, every time you tell this story,
Layla Ali.
it means a lot. No, it's actually your grandma.
Oh shit!
The story that you tell about her ringing the bell and taking the time and all that to
Don't
me.
get me emotional. Tell me what.
That's what's inspiring to me.
Yeah.
Is that, you know what I mean? Because she was you always tell a story of her. You're like, what does my grandma know about boxing? She's like, no, he's got to throw the 1-2 or
Yeah, she was always giving me the right instructions and
yeah. So if there's anybody who's inspiring to me, it's women like her.
you got to meet her then.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's a gangster.
It'd be an honor.
Yeah.
It'd be an honor. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that that I like is there's a lot of women, I think, that, you know, probably similar to her, that aren't even tripping on like whether, I mean, it's cool. Like there's a lot of women out there who are making their stamp in boxing. For me, I know that I have, you know, and we as a team have goals, and that's really what I focus on, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's cool because, you know, now I like training juju and that sort of thing. It's they like, yeah, it's like it's cool, inspirational to them, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to speak for them, but it's really it's pretty cool. Yeah.
You know, it's no matter what your grandma, how old she is, how old you are, you'll always be her grandson.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I love but hate is when I show up to my grandma's and she'll tell me, your fighter is not keeping his left hand up. And I'm like, all right, yeah. No, I don't I don't mind when other people, I mean, I don't mind when she tells me, put it that way. But when people tell me, sometimes they'll be like, you know, after you're jabbing, your guy's hand is dropping, and like, they don't know if it's purposely.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know. Everybody has a in their head embedded what you should do. But they're 6'2", and then they're judging a guy who's 5'4", 5'5", and it's like, no, bro, we don't all box the same. Yeah. We all make sometimes fighters purposely make mistakes to lure you in.
Yeah.
And people knock that little mistake sometimes. But he's seeing things, so he's setting up traps.
Yeah.
You know? So I try to explain that to my grandma, like, no, there's traps. No. She's stuck in the 50s and 60s, you know, where they didn't stay in front of each other, but it was more of a battle of attrition and a battle of balls.
Yeah.
A battle of will.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain to her that it's not like that no more.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's, that, to me, that's I love when you tell that story. That's what's inspirational to me is like, I hope that at one day, that, you know, either of those women that are similar to her or even herself, like I can, make that whole, experience like worth it. 'Cause I know it kind of sucks that you can't visibly be a part of that. You know what I mean? So that's what's rad. You know, people like that paving the way. But amongst that, there's a lot of women who have done a lot for the fucking sport, and it's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think about, you guys could tell me in the comments. One of the first women I remember in boxing was James Toney's manager, and I can't think of her name top of my head right now. I went blank, drawing a blank. But she was she was negotiating with the guys who ran boxing for James Toney's career, you know. But if she didn't have James Toney, would she even make a mark? Because James Toney was a dog, and James Toney would take on any. He went from, I think, middleweight to heavyweight.
Damn.
And she needed that fight. If she would have had any other fighter, she would have been laughed at. I think her name was Jackie Callan. Jackie. If she wouldn't have had him, would she be taken serious?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
And how hard was it for James Toney to take her as a manager?
Yeah. Because
that was like a no-no back then.
Yeah.
Late 80s, early 90s. Like, no. There wasn't that many women in the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that, man. Like, a lot of women think that they have... it's not even think. Like, yeah, a lot of times you kind of have to prove yourself, you know. But for me, I just go in there and, like, I have... Like, that time when I went with Ricky to L.A., I'm in there with business. We're in there. We're going to handle business, and then we're fucking going to run out. Like, that's it. You know, that's all I care about is these guys fucking performing well, you know?
You know, people never ask me why. I remember that day. You guys did fucking awesome. But I remember people always ask me, why do you leave right when you're done sparring?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because when you stick around and talk, people will start saying, oh, Joe was talking about this. Like, the gossip starts.
Yeah.
So I just want to go do what I got to do and bounce.
Yeah.
I'm cordial, friendly. Like, they ask me a question, I'll talk about it. When you start asking me about other trainers or other fighters,
yeah,
because that's what happens. And boxing is a gossip world.
Fuck yeah. It's a small world, man.
Yeah, super small. So I remember, it was so small that I got a call how good you guys did that day.
I didn't expect that at all. I didn't even realize that there were people in there that...
But no,
yeah. I didn't realize. I just went in there and I was, you know, Ricky had been doing okay, but that day he had a really good performance, you know, against a real good fighter.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was cool, man.
So the women are on the come up in the sport.
Yeah. So shout out to Women's Boxing Network and their sponsorship to the podcast.
Thank you, guys.
Pink gloves.
Well,
Yeah, man.
Anything else?
I guess we could save it for the next podcast.
What is it? What is it?
Nah, yesterday we were. I think you were. What'd you ask, Barry? I think you asked
Barry.
Barry. You asked Barry like if you could. When I was working with Juju, I can't remember what day it was. It was last week, and I think it was on Friday. If you could pick something from every fighter, like what would it be to like create the best fighter?
But did I say 3 or 5 fighters?
I think it was like 3 or 4 or something.
I don't know.
Like that.
Cece was like, "What? Like right now or last?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was Cece. It wasn't Barry. It was Cece. Yeah, it was. He was like, man, if it could be like that, if he could like download a chip and put the chip in his mind, and man, I would get Lomachenko's footwork.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. So create the perfect fighter just with 3.
Just with 3.
Yeah,
3 attributes.
Yeah, 3 attributes because you can't have fucking 5. It's like the Matrix. 3.
Yeah. Cece got all excited. He was like, oh man, nobody would beat me. That shit was funny, man.
I already know that. I already know my answer, but I guess I'll save it for next week.
Save it for next week. Yeah. And then I know Dave's shout out to because I know he's always supporting the
You know what?
podcast,
I didn't
man.
talk about it, but because I have to study more on it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk on something. I could talk about it as a coach.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Dave told us yesterday. Maggie told him we were sparring,
Yeah.
and Maggie asked him any interesting
Yeah,
subjects.
because he always comes up to, oh man, the podcast is great, which is fucking dope, man. You know that there's people, you know, our community here in San Diego. It's everybody pretty much knows each other. You know,
Yeah.
we see each other, we spar each other, we work with each other. And you know, we have the reps coming through, and you know they have to do their practice. And Dave's like, you know, huge in our community for sure. And it's cool to have his support. And he mentioned, I asked him, like, well, you got a subject for us? Because sometimes we kind of like, you know, we would like for people to fucking engage. And he mentioned about it was weight cuts, right?
Weight cuts, hydration. Yeah.
Hydration after cutting weight and the dangers of it. And sometimes when guys rehydrate too much, and that's, you know, the fight could end up getting canceled. Sometimes you think that's an advantage, but no, you're kind of like on a fine line, right?
They used to think it was an advantage, but motherfuckers put on. People think we're lying when they say, like, for example, a fighter that fights at 140,
Yeah.
he'll walk around at 155, 160.
Mhm.
I think technically, if you fight at 140, you shouldn't gain more than 154.
Yeah.
Right? 10% of your body weight. I've seen some guys put on 15% of their, like 160, 162.
It's too much.
Yeah, and they feel like they're having an advantage by weight bullying. To a certain extent, if you're big and tall, yeah, but if you're just shorter, whatever the reason is, you're just hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Your muscles are getting fat. Your reaction time is slower.
Yeah.
Your timing gets slower.
You get tired, and then that shit gets in your fucking
And
head.
you're
And,
burning all that diesel.
yeah.
And you're running and training. I mean, when you're fighting, you're carrying that extra weight, so
Yeah.
you're burning those cells faster.
And you know, and we kind of compared a little bit to MMA because MMA guys cut more, and they balloon back up. You know, but it's
So this
different.
hurts them more
Yeah.
because them motherfuckers cut. They cut.
Yeah, there's certain states now where it's like only 10 or 15% of their body weight they can gain the next day. They cut. Like motherfuckers, like their middleweight is like 185, and they fucking come in as a heavyweight, which is like over 205.
They don't even look the same.
Like, what
How
the
am I watching
fuck?
fighting? Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like I did a mock weight cut one time with Con Cobrita. I did it with him. I just want to know what the fuck it feels like. As a woman, you kind of got to be careful though, because you don't want to lose too much weight. Like we're supposed to have a certain amount of fucking body fat. So I only cut, I think it was like 10 pounds. I went from like 135 to 125. It took a toll on me. Like it took me like 2 days to fucking recover. Like I was like, what the fuck is this? Like it more than anything, the weight cut, okay, like yeah, it was difficult. I was eating fucking salad and shit, and I hate eating salads. Like I need protein. Like I need fucking I need meat. But yeah, for me, what beat me up was recovering. That's it.
I remember asking my tío Gaspar, what was the difference of fighters back then till now? And this was like in the 90s when I asked him that question.
Yeah.
And he said that back then, the pro fighters would wait in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and fight the same day, like in the amateurs.
Yeah.
I said, no wonder the fucking welterweights look like welterweights.
Yeah.
No wonder though, you know, all these guys, you turn back the film on the 50s, the guys all look like they had to look. They
Yeah.
look fit. You look at the welterweights now; they look like super middleweight, super light middleweights. You know,
Errol Spence.
Yeah, they look huge.
Yeah,
that 24-hour.
So in a sense, it's like they try to protect them, but it's like
They're
not
hurting
really,
them more.
They're hurting them
Because I feel like when back then in the 50s and 60s, it was maybe I don't know. I got to check when they changed the weigh-in.
Yeah,
those guys had 140 fights, 100 fights.
Yeah,
you know, and it was like fuck. They cut weight all those times, 100 times. They cut down to maybe they just fought. They fought at their walk-around weight.
Yeah. And you look at guys like, speaking of Devin Haney earlier, that he's a fucking guy who what was it when he fought Lomachenko? That fight was at 135.
Yeah.
He ballooned up to
60 something, no?
Something like that. I was like, yo, that's
50 something.
That way too much weight. And he's one of those guys who's and in a sense, I get it because he doesn't have that much.
I was gonna say
pop.
He fought Lomachenko, but it was like the fight that everybody's complaining
the
about.
controversial one.
Yeah, he lost. He won. He lost. I thought he lost.
Yeah, that's another guy.
You look at the highlights, and the highlights are all Loma.
Yeah, I know. Oh, well, that's one of those fights where it's like, who is the A side? It was obvious that Top Rank favors Lomachenko for sure, but that was one of those close fights. I thought Haney won. I did. But, I haven't watched that fight in a minute. Might have to rewatch that one. But that's another guy I'd like to see come back. Nobody's heard what the fuck's going to happen with Lomachenko, and he's holding one of the belts. Or maybe more than one, I think, after he beat Camboso. So, fucking box.
Could be.
All
right,
but,
pues.
Yeah, we'll save the other subject for next week.
The super boxer.
The super boxer. I'm excited for that one. That was kind of
You gotta make your own too, eh?
Yeah, I know. I gotta participate.
Cece said, I'm gonna make 2 super boxers. One of retired fighters and one of active fighters.
Ooh.
He told me. So, all right, cool.
Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing.
Fuck it. Let's go. Inspired by CC.
This has been a Point in Yo production.
Yeah, I think the words, but sometimes they don't come out of my mouth no good.